members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Union for Lao Nation and the Study and Research Centers on Laos and Asia, as well as my fellow Lao compatriots here present, I am very honored and pleased to participate in this symposium to talk about the Vietnam-Laos policy. Dear Khmer brothers, sisters, it is my great honor and privilege to stand with you today. The common history of Lao and Khmer peoples date back centuries. Our two nations share similar values and destiny. We are deeply attached to the beautiful cultures and civilizations. Our peaceful people have consistently maintained good neighboring relations, favoring cooperation and mutual assistance at any time. Both countries have experienced a similar tragic fate, especially undergoing Vietnamese invasion, even causing division and painful loss of national territories. In the 10th century, the king, or Dai Viet, or future Vietnam, who fled the south of China, taking advantage of the generosity and hospitality of the natives, began his business and the Khmer crown, and especially destroyed the country of the South Montagnards. This is also from the 15th century that the Vietnamese introduced themselves into Laos. The hegemony of Vietnam is a historical fact. In the 20th century, in their westward expansion, they annexed Lao territory of 12 regions or Thai Federation, country of the North Montagnard, including Nong Than or Dien Bien Phu, Dak Lat, Pleiku, Ban Me Thuot, Quang Tum, and much of the province of Hua Pan and Siang Quang. Since the Lao-Vietnamese Special Agreement was signed in 1977, 20 regions over 10,000 kilometers square were also absorbed. The criminal conquest of Vietnam has reduced the Khmer and Lao people to slavery and made disappear forever from the planet Earth, one of the great ancient civilizations. This same invader caused immense destruction of cultural heritage and immeasurable human loss. Ultimately, the Khmer and Lao people have lost their independence. At the time of colonialism, within the Indochinese Federation, the French colonization paradoxically accentuated past trends and result in greater weight of Vietnam over its two smaller and weaker neighboring countries. Furthermore, of an unrealistic establishment, the two people have the feeling of being exploited and dominated to exclusive benefits of Vietnam. The boundaries, as was established by the occupying power between Vietnam and Laos, was clearly to the advantage of the first, and still remain a source of contention between the two states to this very day. The tragic event in the history of Laos. It is proven as a fact that as the establishment of the Lao People Democratic Republic, or Lao PDR, on December 2nd, 1975, was the work of Communist Party of Vietnam. A new order out of the darkness of CP 38 or Political Committee 38, made a clean sweep of the past and present with long traditions of civilization and refined culture, confiscated political democracy, and established the dictatorship of a single party claiming of Marxism-Leninism. The Lao People Revolutionary Party was its creator and owed it everything: organization, supervision, guidelines, instruction, and resources. The old monarchy for more than 10 centuries was suddenly uprooted and abolished. This change was not designed by the Lao people. On the contrary, it was set up in defiance of the general will of the Laotian people. Before 1975, the power was constitutionally represented by a Buddhist monarchy, and after 1975, the power does not pass by Buddhism but by Marxism ideology. The Socialist Republic of Vietnam has never complied with the agreement of any kind on Laos, such as the Geneva Agreement of 1954 and 1962, the Paris Agreement of 1973, and the Internal Agreement, the 18th point of Bounchanh of 1973, the Resolution 739 of the European Parliament on Laos in 1982, the Resolution 2535 on the enforced disappearance of the Lao Prominent Community Development Leader Houamsamphan. There I show his picture there. And the 1998 U.S. Senate Resolution 240, referencing to these internal and international instruments. In July 18, 1977, the Lao PDR signed with Communist Vietnam a special friendship and cooperation treaty valid for 25 years and automatically renewable every 10 years and valid until today. This treaty still legalized the station of more than 100,000 Vietnamese paramilitary troops in Laos, including soldiers, personnel, and consular, and also served to legally regulate a factual situation, which is in the case of Vietnamese colonization of Laos. Moreover, the treaty also allows Vietnam to massively harvest the forest and mining in Laos. Lao territory is thus physically walled to the Vietnamese territory with virtual boundaries and turned into settlement lands. This dominance is not only of imperialism and colonial character, but assimilation and Vietnamization equivalent to the extinction of the Lao race in the long term. It transformed Laos into a buffer state of a strategic base in the aim of grabbing other countries in the region as integral part of the Great Vietnam, the Indo-Chinese Federation. In this Indo-Chinese Federation, Vietnam is destined to become a major industrial country in Southeast Asia. In this reality, Hanoi has sought to give a political and institutional expression, imposing in partners, Laos and Cambodia, the system called special relationship, that is to say, the formation of Indo-Chinese bloc on a model close and more restrictive than the practice by Moscow with the satellites of the Soviet Union. The three revolution of production relation, scientific and technical revolution, and cultural revolution. The end result is a slow genocide of the Lao people and the complete Vietnamization of Laos, an hypothesis of the endless dream of Ho Chi Minh. Ladies and gentlemen, the dramatic situation of the people of Cambodia and Laos for decades is subject to the communist regime, a dictatorship purely imposed from abroad, thus becoming colonies of Vietnam. This situation leads our respective countries to ruin. Lao and Khmer people, whose most basic rights are violated and in distress, find themselves in the state of slavery within their own countries. The situation stays always tense because the Vietnamese evil remains, and the hostility of China vis-a-vis the regime knows no time limit. Moreover, the Cambodian question remains, and the disordered situation in Laos is necessarily tied to it, because these two issues are similar and differ only in the degree and intensity of oppression. There are both sides: occupation by the Vietnamese armed force, imposition of the puppet regime, violation of fundamental principles of human rights, total disregard for sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of these states. Global and logical solution is undoubtedly mutual respect, peaceful coexistence between the three countries of Indochina, since the Vietnamese hegemony is the main cause of disturbance of peace and instability throughout the region. Under foreign occupation and ruthless persecution of the regime, suffocated in their own countries by the lack of freedom, the Lao and Khmer people forgotten, neglected, and of losing their dignity and national identity. This is a crucial chapter provided in the will of Ho Chi Minh. In the context of this reality, they demand 1. Immediate withdrawal of the Vietnamese occupation force from the two countries. 2. Cessation of any interference in the internal affairs of Laos and Cambodia. 3. Dismantling of the colonial administration of Vietnam. 4. Respect of the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of both countries. 5. End of the dictatorial regime in order to achieve reconciliation and national harmony. 6. Establishment of a democratic regime. And 7. Respect for the fundamental freedom and human rights. Dear friends, brothers, and sisters, for centuries, the huge problem to be solved is indeed how to contain the potentiality and imperialism of Vietnam within reasonable limits that can save the actual independence of the Khmer and Lao people, who have different vision and options than those of the Vietnamese, due to many factors: history, geography, race, religion, culture, and civilization. And to save our country from ruin and access to a new society crowned with harmony, justice, and hope, so they are free from Vietnamese occupation. We together, Khmer and Lao, set the following immutable objectives. 1. The implementation of our project of cooperation and mutual assistance in all areas at all times, in all circumstances, in all places, and this until the inside of all of our country for our common interest. 2. Our firm determination in combating all forms for the restoration of the independence, sovereignty, democracy, and territorial integrity of our countries. And 3. our infallible will to develop and maintain lasting historic ties of friendship and solidarity between our people. This struggle is in the context of change of the political regime toward independence, democracy, peace, and prosperity, and of mankind who reject forever dictatorship, totalitarianism, colonialism, and imperialism. It wants a legal struggle recognized in a democracy where the right to alternation, according to the popular will, is institutionalized. This undeniable struggle is convinced by the history, which demonstrates that a society without freedom and respect for human rights is a society of tyrants and slaves. A government where people do not enjoy freedom and fundamental rights becomes repressive, corrupt, and inefficient with a poor, rich, and backward population. The victory of the struggle in Eastern Europe and Africa in the critical period of 1990 to 1991 is the work and the will and the power of the people to regain freedom, human rights, and human dignity. The international community must rethink the Indo-Chinese problem to restore on the basis of concrete geopolitical.
Oh.
Hello? So the mic would like to mouth to move a little bit. Okay, with a few more sentences. I repeat that the victory of this struggle in Eastern Europe and Africa in the critical period in 1990 and to 1991 is the work of the will and power of the people to regain freedom, human rights, and human dignity. The international community must rethink the Indo-Chinese problem to restore on the basis of concrete geopolitical realities, peace and definitive and stability of the region. And it is essential for these three countries to find together the ways for economic catch-up with their neighbors, and together those of a democratization of their political regime that meet international requirements today. The independence represents the supreme value of the national identity. It constitutes the fundamental basis of the nation. It is a pride and reflects the aspiration of all the Lao people, who have always devoted immense sacrifice for its defense. The independence lead to take action in line like Lao conception, namely no hegemony and occupation exercised by any country, no foreign intervention in the internal affairs of the country. The future of Laos depends essentially on a regime guaranteeing the freedom and rights of the citizen, a prerequisite of a policy for national concord, cooperation, and solidarity, together with a policy of independent sovereignty, unity, territorial integrity, and human rights for the country's future involves around politics. Long life free Cambodia. Long life free Laotian. Thank you.